The following program is made possible with the support of Diana Corbett with Century 21 Sawyer and Associates, Hendrick Toyota Scion of Wilmington, Papa John's Pizza, Port City Daily, and WILM.
Hey everybody, welcome back to the Sports Roundtable, our weekly look at high school basketball across New Hanover County. I'm Joe Katz. Don't forget, catch all of our high school athletics coverage each and every day at PortCityDaily.com, also on my radio show, The Sports Connection, Mondays at 6 p.m. and Saturday mornings at 11 a.m. on 103.7 FM. This is our playoff edition of the Sports Roundtable. 7 of the 8 teams in New Hanover County have qualified for the state tournament, which gets underway this week. First, leading off today is Ashley girls basketball coach Adrian Gale. And Coach Gale, another playoff bid, a good performance, I think, over that Mid-Eastern Conference tournament. Unfortunately, came up short in the finals. They got to be kind of proud of the girls and the way they've carried themselves over the last week or so.
Oh, definitely. I think this time of year, especially without having a lot of leadership and experience, for them to do what they did this past week, I'm very proud of their accomplishments.
Well, I think just overall, looking at the season in total, still, a couple games, or hopefully a couple games to go later this week in the state playoffs. But, when you lose your Mid-Eastern Conference Player of the Year in Felicity Havens, there's probably a lot of detractors out there saying, I don't know if Ashley is going to have what it takes to make a run. But here you are, especially last Friday night in the conference tournament finals, and really just a strong second half of the season.
Yeah, like I said, I'm proud of what they've done. We lost 5 seniors last year, and of course our leading scorer, school's leading scorer. So for them to be able to get together, and I think we started to develop chemistry. We've been a little bit more consistent. I said that the last couple of times I was on here. We need to have consistency and play a little bit better each quarter. And we did that except for the third quarter on Friday night. So that's what kind of hurt us.
Well, yeah, unfortunately, the Ashley girls came up short in the conference finals in the tournament against Hoggard. Second place in the tournament finals, but one person I really think that stood out in that basketball game was China Cotton, a junior for you. She's really kind of, been the aggressive player for you, especially down in the paint. I think she had a double-double at the half against Hoggard, so you got to be really impressed with her effort.
Oh, yeah, definitely. She's so strong. I just need to make sure she stays out of foul trouble. So once she does, we can go with our offense, and people have to pack it in with her. And then hopefully once they do, we can extend it out and hit some outside shots. If not, we just try to get the ball right back into her. But yeah, she played great in that first half Friday, and we had a 5-point lead at halftime. And then we stopped feeding her the ball. I know she went down with a little injury, but she's okay, so she'll be ready to go for Tuesday night.
And of course, some of those younger players now, or freshmen, maybe sophomores now, you're looking, for more of a leadership role from them. And I thought in that game against Hoggard in that first half, you were moving the basketball in and out and able to get some jump shots from Lola Lovett. Carly Barron hit a couple shots from outside as well. So, when everything's moving in your flow offensively, you've got a pretty good threat inside and out.
Yeah, and that's what we need, that consistency of being, versatile, not just being big and getting the ball inside, but once people pack it in, to be able to spread it out and hit some outside shots. And I think they're playing with this a little bit more confidence. And, shooters are going to be shooters. One day they're going to hit them all, and the next day, they might not hit as many. Right. So, but we encourage them to keep shooting. And, they both can attack the basket too. And they're just kind of developing a new role. They're both starting and playing the majority of every game and getting a lot of minutes and a lot of experience out there.
Well, I think with Lola, especially, a freshman for you, has put in some big time, and also, she's not afraid to do a little jawing on that court for you, and that's something, you like to see from a younger player.
Yeah, she has that kind of shooter's mentality where it doesn't matter if she just shot 10 and missed all 10, she'll go out and take another 10, so you kind of like that short-term memory, you know, or she forgets things,
Right.
which is good. So, you know, because you see it with a lot of kids that they hold it against themselves and they are afraid to shoot then the next time. And she just kind of, you know, brushes things off and goes out there. And she just is a competitor. She likes to play. So.
Well, the
Just gotta
North
give her
Carolina
all.
High School Athletic Association releases the playoff brackets for the state tournament, 4A tournament here in our case, New Hanover County. And of course, the Screaming Eagles draw a familiar foe in the New Hanover Wildcats in the first round. You'll have to go to Brogdon Hall to play them. You have beaten them 2 out of the last 3 times, so you got to have a little confidence going up against the New Hanover team, especially defeating them in the conference semifinals of the tournament last week. But with that said, 2 quality teams matching up at Brogdon Hall, which is always a tough place to play.
Oh yeah, I mean we're excited, you know, to be in the playoffs. Kind of a home game, I guess, where we don't have to travel to Greensboro or anything like that. But you know, anytime you go to Brogdon Hall, that's the last time that they beat us was on their court. So you know, we have to not, you know, remember that, and they're going to go with all the positives of looking at that. So we're just going to have to counterbalance, you know, what they're thinking are positives and be able to go out and have a good performance.
Well, one of those things that I guess you could say that you were able to beat them 2 of the last 3 times, and that conference loss came all the way back to first game of the conference schedule, I believe, when you fell to New Hanover at their place. So it was a lot of basketball played in between that loss and the 2 wins against the Wildcats.
Yeah, it was back in December, and I think, you know, we've been playing much better basketball, and we have a little bit more I don't know, chemistry, consistency, and just morale is up. So with that, you know, we have a little bit of confidence going in there knowing that we did just beat them, but, you know, it's a new game on Tuesday, and it's playoffs, so it's going to be a battle.
Well, I know you did change up some things defensively the last couple times you played them. I won't ask you about the X's and O's because I don't want to, you know, spill the milk, I guess, and, you know, let New Hanover watch the show and then, of course, you know, get some pointers from this interview. So I'll leave it at that.
Yeah, thanks. Well, you know, this time of year, you know, especially with in-town rivals, right. I mean, we just know each other so well, so it's just going to kind of be whether who rebounds better, makes foul shots. You know, the little things are going to make a difference on Tuesday.
The Ashley girls basketball team, you know, we're making a nice little run here towards the second season now as we head through the state playoffs. Coach Adrian Gale, good luck this week, and hopefully we'll be talking to you in next week's edition of the show and playoff bound as it continues.
Thanks, Joe.
That's Ashley girls basketball coach Adrian Gale here on the Sports Roundtable. We'll take a quick break, catch up with the rest of our varsity girls and boys basketball coaches across New Hanover County right after this. I'm Joe Katz.
My life is full of statistics. Thing is, I could have dropped out of school and become one myself, but I didn't because I had people that believed in me. Here's another statistic. 7,000 students drop out every school day. That's 1 every 26 seconds. It's time that students know that we believe in them.
Inspire a student and share your message of support at boostup.org.
Rudyard Kipling was born in India of British parents. As a young boy, he was sent to school in England. Not until 1882, at the age of 17, did he make his way back to India to work as a journalist. His work as a reporter, fiction writer, and poet earned him a Nobel Prize for Literature in 1907. This background in literature has been brought to you by New Hanover County Schools on the Learning Network of the Cape Fear.
Hey everybody, welcome back to the Sports Roundtable, our weekly look at high school basketball across New Hanover County. It's our playoff edition of the show. 7 of our 8 teams in the county advanced and qualified for the state playoffs, which get underway this week. With that said, we'll talk now with Laney girls basketball coach, longtime coach Sherry Tynes. And coach, the gas tank is filled up in the activity bus, and we're ready to take a nice little ride to the central part of the state for the opening round of the state playoffs.
Yes, we are. Well, I think we're going about as far as we can go without being in the West, and actually we might have one foot in the West when we get there.
With that said, you know, the Lady Bucks, you know, up and down season this year, but you know, that's kind of expected after losing a number of key pieces over the last few years, as that oftentimes happens at the high school level, and kids graduate and move on to the next you know, part of their lives. But with that said, you know, hanging tough in a real quality Mid-Eastern Conference, at least, you know, here in county. You know, these 4 teams in the county have been battling each other pretty much all season.
Yeah, I mean, very tough competition in town. You know, and it's that way always. It doesn't matter the record. It doesn't matter, you know, anything. It's when we play, you know, anything can happen. And you know, which is good for us going into the conference tournament. You know, having played those games leading up to this, I think will help, you know, better prepare us for what we're going to face in Greensboro. But you know, at times really close to breaking through and getting through that door, and other times just, you know, slip back at the last minute. You know, so just, you know, still trying to find a way to give ourselves opportunities down the stretch, and then hopefully, you know, step all the way through that door and maybe bring a big win home Tuesday night.
Well, you have that chance, obviously, hitting the road for the opening round of the state playoffs. And as you mentioned, you know, the kids see the seeds that when they come out in the tournament, they know where they're ranked. And you think that ever, you know, can bode well for an underdog team like yourself, when that home team, you're going to have to travel all that way out to Greensboro, and they see that they're, you know, way ahead in the seeding process. That may bode well for you, kind of a chip on your shoulder and nothing to lose.
Well, sure. You know, last year it did for us because we were a 25 seed going in last year and ended up being sectional runner-up, you know, by, you know, 3 points. So, you know, same situation this year, going in as a 26 seed into a team that's had a tremendous amount of success. And, you know, I think that's just that age group. Sometimes they look at you and they take for granted, and, you know, you come in and you upset them. So, I mean, you know, maybe we got a little edge going in there, and, you know, nothing to lose, everything to gain. You know, still looking to put together a complete game, and hopefully that will happen for us in Greensboro.
Well, I know that you've, you know, kind of scouted out your opposing team for this week, and you kind of know what they're going to bring to the table. What are you going to have to do on your side in order to come away with the victory? Well,
defensively, of course, we're going to have to contain them and, you know, not give up any transition baskets. They're a quick team. They got a little size, got a couple 6'1", 6'2" kids in there, so we'll have to battle with them, make it hard. And I think one of the biggest keys is going to be rebounding. You know, boxing out, not giving them any second and third opportunities. If they're going to score against us, they got to score over us. And, you know, no easy baskets in transition. And then, you know, come down on offense and, you know, be aggressive and take the opportunities that present themselves, and, you know, and do that with confidence, and, you know, see what happens.
Well, with that said, a couple of the seniors on the team that will be playing in their last few games as we head through the playoffs, but looking ahead to the future, and I know you don't want to do that just yet, but with that said, you know, I think the Laney girls basketball program has a bright future with some of their players that, you know, that are going to grow up over the next couple of seasons.
Well, you know, I think we do, and we've got a couple of kids in our JV program that we're hoping will be able to make a difference for us next year with their year of experience, and certainly the kids that were on JV, on varsity this year, have a year under their belt, and, you know, we're just looking, you know, to get these kids to where they don't have to think so much. You know, I think that kind of paralyzes us at moments, that they're still thinking and wondering if that's what we need to do or should do or shouldn't do, and instead of just getting out there and playing, because we've got the talent, we've got some athletic ability and basketball players out there. You know, if you just put them out there and tell them good to go, they go pretty well. We just got to find 5 of them that can do that comfortably, and you know, and go from there. So yeah, I mean, the future is definitely bright, and you learn from this year. You know, we won 15 ball games. I mean, that was a tremendous feat for us, not really knowing going in. So, you know, very pleased with the outcome of our season to date, and you know, a handful of games in there that I think we could have gone either way for us. Like I said, we got our foot in the door, but just couldn't get all the way through. So, you know, still trying to do that, and hopefully we can start that over in Greensboro. Well,
you kind of hit a coaching milestone earlier this year with a big coaching victory. I know that was a long time ago, and you kind of just brushed it off your shoulder, kind of. But with that said, been at Laney a long time. We're going to see you next year on the sidelines for the Lady Bucks program.
As far as I know.
Right. As long as they want to keep you.
As long as they want to keep me, I'll hang around.
I'm sure that's not even a question over in Bucktown. Laney girls basketball coach Sherry Tynes. Coach, it's always a pleasure catching up with you.
Thanks much.
The Lady Bucks looking to stay alive in the 4A state playoffs, which get underway across the state this week. The Bucks will head out to the Greensboro area for their opening round matchup. This is the Sports Roundtable. We'll continue our conversation with our high school varsity basketball coaches across New Hanover County right after this.
What state am I?
I am known to many as the Sunflower State. 95% of my land is farmland. I lie in the very middle of the continental U.S. Do you know who I am? If you guessed Kansas, you're right. I received statehood in 1861.
This United States factoid has been brought to you by New Hanover County Schools on the Learning Network of the Cape Fear.
Who was president? The years 1981 to 1989. He was the oldest man ever elected president. He survived an assassination attempt, and he negotiated an agreement with Russia that eliminated intermediate-range nuclear missiles. If you guessed Ronald Reagan, you're right. He was the 40th President of the United States. This presidential pop quiz has been brought to you by New Hanover County Schools on the Learning Network, Time Warner Cable Channel 5.
Hey everybody, welcome back to the Sports Roundtable, our weekly look at high school basketball across New Hanover County. I'm Joe Katz, alongside now Hoggard boys basketball coach Brett Queen. We're heading into the second season now. Playoff brackets have been unveiled, and we get to the opening round of the tournament this week. Actually, the first two rounds of the tournament will be completed by the end of this week. The Hoggard boys basketball team, Mid-Eastern Conference champions, Mid-Eastern Conference tournament champions, sitting alongside the all-time winningest coach in Hoggard basketball history. So I had to don a little Hoggard blue today. Don't tell the rest of the county basketball coaches, as they might get a little upset that I'm showing a little bias here on the show today. But Coach, it's always a pleasure talking with you, and congratulations on all your success so far this season.
Thank you, and it has been fun so far. Really happy for the way our guys played last week, and hopefully we can keep it rolling for a little bit.
Well, you had back-to-back games really for the first time in some time, Thursday and Friday of this past week in the Mid-Eastern Conference tournament, down at a great venue at Brunswick Community College, standing room only for that finals matchup against West Brunswick. You two teams split the regular season series, and you're able to come away with a big victory in that finals. And one guy I was impressed with, Xavier Johnson, you kind of challenged him to step up in that game, and I really think he came through with one of his best games of the season.
He did. He had a really, really good game, and we knew that we had a matchup advantage there, but we needed him to play at the level that he played at, and so it was really good to see him do that. He was really aggressive offensively, rebounded well like he has been, but just as far as his mentality offensively was just much more aggressive than what he has been most of the season, and something that we have been trying to push him and challenge him to do, and it was good to see him step up at that time.
Well, when you play a team like West Brunswick, talented bunch obviously down there in Charlotte, you play teams twice, 3 times, 4 times in a season. How hard is it to kind of dial up with that film and the preparation to figure out those matchups that you may be able to take advantage of?
Well, it helped us a lot that the two teams we played in the tournament, Ashley and West Brunswick, we had just played also in February. We played Ashley the first week of February and West the second week of February, and so it was still fresh in all of our minds. Ashley, especially since we had lost that game, I thought our kids were really focused for that game, and we didn't have a time to practice before the West game because it was back-to-back days, but so the fact that we had just prepared for them the week before, everything was really fresh in our guys' minds. We talked about a couple things that we needed to do better than what we had done the game before, and the games in some ways were very similar in that we built a double-figure lead and had to sort of fight them off there in the second half. The difference in the two games was that when we played them at our place, they got a 5-point lead on us, and we had to come back. We never let them get the lead in the championship game, and I think a lot of that had to do with the fact that we played better against what they did to try to come back than what we had done when we played them a week earlier.
Did you think, looking back kind of on the season, playing those back-to-back games, coming away with victories, especially with 2 strong second halves, do you think those was probably the 2 most complete games you've played all season?
I do. We really played at a high level in both of those games, and that's what you need to be doing at this time of the year. And we've got to continue. We need to be better this week in the playoffs than we were in the conference tournament, because if you're not, then things are going to come to an end real quickly.
Well, that's one of those things when you head to the playoffs, one bad night, can end your season, and obviously the guys know that. But with that said, a couple of practices in between your championship tournament final win and then the first round of the state playoffs. What's the message mindset here over the next 24 hours before we get ready?
Well, just we've watched some film of Overhills and trying to. I think one of the things that if you can find an opponent that you played during the season that matches up a little bit with who you're getting ready to play in the playoffs, and try to relate that to the kids, that can help. the team that they most remind us of is actually Trask, which we played way back in December without any of our football guys, so half our team doesn't have any frame of reference on that. But the one message I think that we can send to them related to that game is that if you don't take care of the basketball, you can get in trouble real quick. We turned the ball over like crazy in the first quarter against Trask, and we're down by 10 or 12 points. We didn't turn the ball over the rest of the game, and we ended up winning that game by 30. I don't expect to be anywhere close to winning by 30 against Overhills, but if we turn the ball over against their pressure, then we're going to have a hard time. And they've been a very, very good team at home. They did not win any road games in their league this year, and so, but they beat most of those. They beat 5 of those teams at home. They got swept by 71st, and then the rest of the league, they won all their home games. They lost all their road games, and so they haven't played since February 13th because of their conference tournament being snowed out. And so I think it's real important that we get off to a good start. And if we can do that and play at the level that we played at last week, I think it can be a good matchup for us.
Well, I think the Hoggard Vikings playing some of their best basketball right now, and that's what you want heading into the playoffs. And with that said, you've got 7, 8 guys that you mix in through your rotation, 9, 10 guys even at sometimes, depending on the score, and that must give you a lot of confidence and the team a lot of confidence, knowing that no matter who's out there on the floor, they can get the job done.
Well, and we got some contributions from some guys in the championship game. Charles Stanfield, for one, had not been playing a whole lot and had struggled in practice, honestly, which is why he wasn't playing as much. But he really had a good week, 10 days of practice, and so we were able to use him in some situations, and he hit some shots for us, did a good job defensively against both Gathright on Thursday, and Cheers on Friday. And then Gaddafi Turner came in and for the second consecutive game against West Brunswick went 5 for 6 from the free throw line down the stretch of in the game. And so it is good that we're getting contributions from multiple guys, and it's not just Trey or AJ. That we're getting contributions, and you're going to be at your best when teams can't just focus on 1 or 2 guys. I mean, we know people are going to try to limit what Trey and AJ do, but getting double-figure performances from Xavier and Jack, and then Robert Wilkerson and Charles Stanfield combined for 10 points. So they play the same position. They were sort of in for each other. So you get 10 points from that position. That means that all 5 spots on the floor were in double figures in the game, which makes you a whole lot harder to guard.
Hoggard boys basketball coach Brett Queen. Coach, we look forward to seeing how this run goes, playing some really good basketball right now, and hopefully we'll be talking to you next Monday or next edition of the show just to continue our playoff edition, as we're going to continue to kind of eliminate some teams as they get knocked out. But I have a feeling that the Hoggard boys basketball team will be in it for the long run, hopefully in the 4A state playoffs.
Well, nothing would make me any happier than to be back here next week doing this, which would mean that we'd have won 3 games this week. So hopefully it will be a good week for us.
Well, and that question too, with that said, you get a favorable seed before we go, a favorable seed. So that means, should you win, I know you're not looking ahead beyond game number 1, but you will have a couple of home games should you take care of business.
If we can win Tuesday, we would be home again on Thursday against either Cary or Riverside. And then Saturday, if seeds hold true to form, we would probably have to go to 71st to play them. If somebody was to beat them, then we could be at home on Saturday as well. But likely a trip to Fayetteville on Saturday.
Well, I don't think it'll matter where you play at this point of the season. I think the Hoggard Vikings are, firing on all cylinders, and that's where you want to be.
Exactly.
This is the Sports Roundtable. We'll take a quick break. Thanks again to Hoggard boys basketball coach Brett Queen. Take a break and we'll catch up with the rest of our teams from across New Hanover County as we make that playoff push into the second season. I'm Joe Katz. We'll be right back.
Every day, online predators make their way into homes uninvited and unnoticed. Help delete online predators. To learn what you can do to protect your kids' online life, visit cybertipline.com.
Following the tragic events of September 11th, there have been hundreds of violent attacks against innocent Americans.
Remember what that flag you're waving stands for.
Remember, please stop the hate.
We're stronger when we are united.
Remember what that flag you're waving stands for.
One nation under God.
Indivisible.
With liberty
And justice.
For all.
In America, there's either room for everyone, or it's not America. Don't pick the wrong fight.
Let's keep America land of the free.
Stop the hate.
Hey everybody, welcome back to the Sports Roundtable, our weekly look at high school basketball across New Hanover County. It's the playoff edition of the show. We appreciate a couple of coaches stopping by earlier today. Thanks again to Coach Adrian Gale from Ashley, Laney girls coach Sherry Tynes, and Hoggard boys basketball coach Brett Queen for those Hoggard Vikings on the boys side, right in the middle of a nice little run for them, coming off the Mid-Eastern Conference regular season championship and the Mid-Eastern Conference tournament championship this past Friday with a 72-66 win over West Brunswick. As far as the Hoggard girls, also have to give them a little shout out. The Lady Vikings also claimed the Mid-Eastern Conference regular season title and the tournament championship with a big win over Ashley this past Friday at Brunswick Community College. Coach Boubacar Aw not here with us today, but for the Vikings earned a favorable seed in the 4A state playoffs and will also have a chance to host a couple of home games should they move on through the state tournament beginning this week. Games will be Tuesday and then on Saturday should any of our area teams advance that far into the state tournament. So the Hoggard girls basketball team, favorable seed. I believe they're the 6th seed in the 4A tournament. The Ashley girls will play at New Hanover. And speaking of the Lady Wildcats, Coach Bertha Dixon-Wright and her New Hanover girls basketball team, have kind of struggled towards the latter part of this season, but looking to bounce back. They'll face a familiar foe in the opening round against Ashley. We caught up with Coach Gale talking a little X's and O's, gearing up for that game. Should one of those two teams win, they will go on the road in that second round of the playoffs. And wrapping things up here in the local area across New Hanover County, the New Hanover boys basketball team led by Coach Kirk Angel, they are playing at home against Southview in the opening round of the state tournament. They ended up finishing 3rd in the regular season, 3rd in the tournament finals, lost a 1-point game to West Brunswick, 49-48 in the tournament semifinals back on Thursday. Very young team for Coach Angel this year, not one senior in the starting lineup, but they have come on strong as of late with a lot of young talent led by Freddie Taylor, Malik Jacobs, among some other young guys. Those two freshmen, Blake Smith, another young sophomore shooting the ball from the outside, and then some of their front court guys, Brian Howell, Lawrence Williams, and Achias Fields have really put together strong seasons in their junior year to keep the Wildcats relevant in the Mid-Eastern Conference standings as well as atop the state playoffs now as they get ready for that postseason push. Lastly, I forgot to mention the Ashley boys basketball team also qualified for the 4A state playoffs. They're the 32 seed in the East region in the 4A tournament and will have to go up to Garner Magnet. They're the top seeded team, undefeated. So good luck to Coach Guthrie. Webb Guthrie in his first season really turned some heads across the Mid-Eastern Conference this year, having his team really a successful run for the Screaming Eagles, picking up a win at Hoggard. Tons of close games as well against West Brunswick, New Hanover, in addition to some other big wins over the Laney Bucks. So for Coach Guthrie, he's got my vote probably for the Mid-Eastern Conference Coach of the Year. We'll kind of wait to see how that all pans out. Once the season comes to a close, all the coaches will get together and vote on their Mid-Eastern Conference Player of the Year, first team, second team, and of course the Coach of the Year. But my vote will go to Coach Guthrie in his first season over at Ashley at his alma mater, has had his Screaming Eagles playing at a very high level, led by Tyree Gathright, who's averaging somewhere around 25 points per game, and he continues to show some of the college coaches at the next level that he has what it takes to play next season following graduation from Ashley. Well, that will do it for the Sports Roundtable, our weekly look at high school basketball. Don't forget, you can catch our high school coverage each and every day at portcitydaily.com. I also host a sports talk radio show here in town, 6 p.m. on Mondays, 11 a.m. Saturday mornings on 103.7 FM. For everyone here at the Sports Roundtable, good luck to our high school basketball teams as they make their way through the state playoffs beginning this week. Hopefully, we'll be catching up with them on the next edition of the show, playoff edition of the Sports Roundtable. For everyone here, I'm Joe Katz. We'll talk to you soon.